Welcome to Yep, I'm a PI. My name is Cherie,
My name is Two Cents.
aka Nick. You can't have a nickname and me not have a nickname. Just kidding. No, we said last week I was Wee Wee.
Yeah.
All right, 2 cents and Wee Wee. So
hmm
I guess we're gonna have to stick with that. We are private investigators, and we are bringing you behind the scenes of telling stories of some of our most memorable cases, and we have a lot of them. We've been doing this for almost 10 years, so we definitely have a good Rolodex of stories to share, right?
That's correct.
So today we actually wanted to talk about surveillance that we conduct regarding workers' compensation and disability
hmm
cases. There's a lot of them because unfortunately there's a lot of fraud.
There's a lot of insurance
I'm so
fraud.
sorry, but there is a lot of insurance fraud.
It's no better business to work in to defraud than the insurance. I
Right.
think that's probably one of the biggest scams out there.
I mean, it really is. And
It is.
also, I think we said it last week too, as well. I do want to reiterate that it also does help people that are not fraudulent because sometimes that does happen. There are real injuries.
hmm
But I will say, generally, by the time it gets to the point where the insurance carrier is hiring a private investigator to conduct surveillance, that means that there's some kind of red flag indicator that there could possibly be fraud. So before it gets there, it just means that something is triggered.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes, like especially if it's a coworker that knows that somebody is not being honest about their injury, and well, let's face it, they rat them out. I mean, they get jealous. Why should you not have to go to work and I have to go to
I
work,
mean,
kind of thing.
honestly, we have had some cases where the information was tipped off by a coworker,
hmm
an angry ex. They will alert the insurance company about it or HR of the company that the individual works for. So
hmm
tips are definitely sent that way.
Oh yeah, oh
But
yeah.
also if the injuries are not matching up with what the medical records are.
All these claims, they have case managers, within the insurance
Right.
company that, they oversee these things, and so they're periodically checking. Just because you don't see them there,
Right.
if you got a claim going, doesn't mean they're not eyes on,
Right. Well,
because they have responsibilities too. They have a fiduciary responsibility to make sure that proper payments are being paid out, not above or not below what is owed. So, when you got a vested interest, people are watching you, believe it or not.
just trying to give you some hints.
Oh yeah, I mean, we've done cases on like 20 somethings, like,
Yes, our case
yeah,
today,
20
actually.
somethings, and it's just like, what? What do you mean? You just got out of high school and you already got a blown out back? Wow.
Well,
Okay.
it's that guy, remember that case? He was 20, had been on workers' comp for 2 years. So it was his very first job as an adult that he had worked. He got an injury and he was on workers' comp at 20, and they suspected that something was going on. I don't know how they got alerted to it, if it was just
I mean, like you said, he fit in the matrix of, well, he's this young, he's a virile Ute, and what's going on here? Why is he got a blown out back?
yeah,
And so yeah, so he gets, people like that get attention. So guess what? That means they get
we
our
get
attention.
they get our attention and
People
we
like
get
us.
hired. Yes.
Yep.
Yep. There was another investigator who actually was working that case, and what had happened is there was suspicion that this subject, we call them claimants, in injury cases like this, the claimant was playing baseball. And so they were saying that they didn't think his injuries were as bad as he was claiming it that they were paying for. So they hired investigators to watch him.
Didn't wasn't weren't we the second ones on that
We
one?
were, we
Because
were.
the other guy who was a friend of ours, he got burned.
Right. Well, he didn't necessarily get
No, he
burned
did
in the,
because
no, he didn't get burned because they never
didn't the ball
knew.
come flying at him and
Yes.
it hit his car?
So he goes to this baseball game, and he's sitting in his car doing surveillance watching this activity.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to get out because let me explain like the scene to you. It's a very small league, and there was like, I don't know, 10, 12, maybe 15 people in the stands, and so he figured he was going to stand out if he were to go sit and
You're
watch the
gonna
game.
stand out.
Right. So he thought, let me just stay in my car.
I mean, that's reasonable.
Well, no, it's
That's nothing I
reasonable.
wouldn't do.
No, it's totally
Especially when you got a straight shot.
no, parked right in front.
Yeah,
Just
straight
camera
shot with the camera.
zooming in and
Yeah,
everything.
just give it to me, baby.
He's sitting there smoking a cigarette. Probably had his newspaper
His
open.
best live camera, feet up.
I mean, the setup on that is about as
That's pretty
easy
sweet.
as you're going to get in any kind of a case, right? So listen, he was doing
Yeah,
he
you're
was
doing
doing
all right.
good.
I mean, how many times you go to a public park and people just pull in the park, they eat their lunch, or they just want to get away from whoever, a spouse, whoever, and they just sit there and they pull up a newspaper and read. I see it all the time.
Remember that little
Sitting in their car.
old man? He came to the park one time. We were pulled over waiting for a subject to exit. And this little old man, he was probably in his
Probably in his
80s, pulls over on the curb. He hops out and he starts walking slowly over to the trash can. He's dumping beer boxes.
He's got a 12-pack beer box that he keeps. Yeah, I mean, he was hiding it from his old lady.
He was definitely getting rid of it
he was
at the park.
dumping it at the park. I'm like, good for you, bro. Good for you.
Hiding.
Good for you.
He's
Living
afraid to
your
go
best life.
home.
He's like, yeah, I ain't drinking around her.
Right. Yep.
80 years of living with this woman. I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. 80 years. Cantankerous.
So a lot of things could happen at a park.
Yeah,
right?
a lot of
For
things
sure.
happen at a park.
Yes.
So here's our guy watching, and what exactly happened there? Somebody hit a ball.
So they hit the ball. The ball went over the top of the fence.
Foul ball.
Foul ball landed on the investigator's windshield, cracked his windshield. Game over. Like, we're done.
That's embarrassing.
He got out of the car, so now there's interaction with people from his team. They don't know.
Now we got to extend insurance and this and that. It's like, well, I'm done. I'm out.
Yep.
They got all my info.
And they didn't know that he was an investigator.
No, they didn't, but
the
he can't go back.
problem is that they had conversations with him. Nobody knew what he was doing there. If he were to go back, it would look suspicious. So they said, all right, we need to swap out investigators. I decide when I go there that I wasn't going to sit in the parking lot. And I wasn't going to sit on the side of the road because we weren't going to do that again. We didn't need round 2 because then that was obvious, right? But sometimes it's easier to hide
in plain sight.
And that's how I approached this investigation.
Yeah. Why not get hit by a fly ball right there while you're in the stands?
Listen.
Why take out your car? I agree with that.
I arrive at the ball field. I have a camera. And I didn't even use covert, to be honest with you, because I knew kind of what I was like my setup was going to be.
Yep.
And there were some people in the stands. And so I was filming, getting some video. And then I got approached by.
Well, wait a minute.
Okay.
Let's rewind a little bit. Let's give you a description of the subject. So he had
yes, that's a good idea.
Yes. I mean, talk about giving us the goodies. What was this guy? Had his jersey on.
Yes.
With his number and his name on it.
At his name. Well, although.
Bam, right on his back.
Although, let's not forget, his brother was also on the team. And so there were 2 brothers that looked a lot alike. They were young. They both had their name on their jerseys. And so then I had to determine which one was which. I still needed to decipher the difference between the 2. And I knew what his wife looked like.
If we get lucky, sometimes they provide us with a picture. I don't know if you had one.
No, I did have a picture. He had a tattoo on the back of his neck, but he was wearing like a helmet. And then every time he would not be on the ball field, they would put on these hoodie jackets. And so I couldn't get a view of where the tattoo was. And these brothers looked like twins. They were so identical.
It was great though, because he was like choking up on the bat. He was like stretching.
Oh, yes. Yep.
Giving all the power moves.
Well, but that was the thing is it didn't matter which one it was because they were both batting. They were both running. Yeah. They were both running bases. He had a back injury. He was saying he was sedentary, that he couldn't walk, he couldn't run, he couldn't drive. For 2 years was claiming all of these injuries that they were paying him for. So I knew what his wife looked like, but she wasn't there. And I thought that would have been a great way to determine who he was, right? But unfortunately, we couldn't get that. But nonetheless, we still got him with a lot of activity.
Not a good activity. I call that the gold standard.
It literally was so good.
It doesn't get much better than that.
It was great. Eventually, I get approached by this lady and she said, who are you here to see? Because there's, again, like 12 of us. There's not many people on the bleachers. And I looked at her and I said, oh, I said, actually, I'm not here to see anybody specifically. I don't have a family member or anybody like that that's playing. I'm doing stories on smaller leagues in the areas. And this week, for a while, I'm going to be portraying the teams here in this league at this location. And she was so excited, so excited. She said, this is amazing. And she said, can we be on camera too?
Why?
And I thought, why, yes, you can, ma'am. And so I said, absolutely. So I told her, I said, go ahead and pose. And so she brought all the people over. They were getting their posing. I was filming them. And I said,
They were standing right in back of him while he was like batting.
yes.
Yeah, they were lined up. Right
Yes.
back of him.
Right. Yep.
Grippada!
And I knew that some of those family members were with those brothers. And so then I said, oh, and who are you here? Like, who's your family member playing? And so they told me who it was. She pointed out which one was which. Oh, they're brothers. I'm their aunt. This is their mom. This is their dad. I mean,
Perfect.
honestly, this could not have gone smoother.
That was good.
Yes. So I told them, because I knew I needed several weeks because they only played every Wednesday. So I told the family, I said, I'm going to be back next week too. And I said, probably a couple weeks in a row. Are you going to be here next week? And she said, yes, we're coming to watch them play again. And I said, well, I will be here next week too. And she said, will you film us again? And I said, absolutely. And I did. I came back for another month. It was like 4 weeks total, actually. So 3 more weeks. And I filmed them every week, and I got him every week, and was able, finally, it was a 3rd week, to confirm him by his tattoo on the back of his neck. So he was no longer wearing the jacket. And that video showed running bases, batting, sliding, jumping up and down. When he was not playing, he was out there like, yeah, just like giving us just
everything.
The gold. Yeah.
Everything.
Yep. So
and I always wondered how those conversations went.
Oh gosh, to be a fly on the wall
when they would,
yeah.
I mean, when they got to sit there with the insurance company, and they, when they're
On this particular case, I did because he was represented by an attorney, and that's the other thing. The caveat to it is that we cannot talk to him because he's represented by an attorney. So we have to really play that very safely. So I knew if he came up, I could not say, hey, let me record you, because technically we're in public. And if he's in public and approached, then that would be different. We can't knock on his door. We can't call him, things of that nature. But sometimes, to keep that gray area pretty clean, I knew not to just at least talk to him, because it could compromise like the case, right? And he was represented. Thankfully, I didn't have that issue or anything of that nature. But then the attorney had gone back to the insurance company and had claimed that I filmed the wrong subject, like the wrong claimant. They were like, it wasn't him. And even though in my video, I did have the family confirming who it was. So, I mean, the evidence was so strong.
Yeah.
And the attorney was like, that wasn't him. So then the insurance carrier had to go back and say, well, then provide us information on like additional information, because we have video of him with a tattoo. We have video from the employer that he has the tattoo.
His name on his back.
Yes.
His aunt saying, yeah, that's him.
And his wife eventually did show up. It was like 2nd week. So his wife was with him with his kids. I caught them on camera kissing. So unless
with
she's
his wife,
sleeping with, then we got a whole other case here to do. Now we got infidelity to deal with. So either way, we got an issue, sir. So, but the attorney fought it for a while. Then evidence ended up, you cannot like dispute it. I mean, you can't, you're just not going to win. Well, he was an ambulance chaser. I mean, they call those attorneys ambulance chasers, but they literally represent you blind. They're like, they're like going for everything. It doesn't make sense.
We'll call them Lucky Charms, like a little leprechaun with a little pot of gold.
They promise you, if you do this, there's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And then they're like chasing the rainbow. So.
That's it.
But they did end up cutting him off of benefits. But it still took a
2 years. I mean, that guy got to resign for
No,
2 years.
another year. It took
Another
him. It
year to
took him
get rid of
another
him.
year to cut him off of benefits because it's not
3 years, man. That's a
right.
good vacation.
Yeah, you're like 21 years old. You're
Full
living.
paid
Yeah.
vacation. I mean, that's pretty awesome. Good for him.
Yep.
Worked the system.
But
3-year
that's the
retirement.
thing is it's not that easy to cut somebody off of workers' comp. It's not like they get that evidence and like, okay, you're done tomorrow. It's a whole process. So he still got another year
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
workers' comp on that for
There you
sure.
go, man. I guess his attorney, convinced him that we got this.
But they do, but that
They do,
again,
yeah.
an ambulance
I mean,
chase.
and if let's put it this way, if the investigator didn't do a good job documenting everything properly, then
Right.
yeah, he could have got off on a technicality.
Right.
But I mean, it doesn't get much better than that.
Or here's the other thing that taken into account when we do these cases is that sometimes we follow those people long enough that at some point I'm like, you should invite us to Thanksgiving because we now know like your whole entire life. We should be invited to dinner at this point, right?
Yep.
We always
Yep.
joke about that too. How many times do we say that? Like, oh, we should be invited to dinner now. Because a good investigation isn't going to be 1 day, 2 days. I mean, this guy was repeated 4 weeks. We had so much evidence that we didn't need to really continue at this point.
Mhm.
But that's the importance of a really solid investigation because if even the first week when I got on it, that information still would have probably been fairly sufficient, but we knew like, hey, we need more to just we're going to be solid when we present this evidence.
Yeah.
And
And that goes back to somebody probably ratted him out, right? Somebody that knew him.
Yes.
Somebody knew him, knew what he was up to, and said, "Oh, by the way, he plays baseball. Here we go."
Probably, yeah.
Yeah,
Somebody
I'm
who's
sure
like
that's how-
jealous. Yeah. But and that was
He was probably bragging. I mean, because that's what people like that do.
they do.
They get complacent and they brag about how smart they are, and they're like, "Yeah, they'll never
Yeah.
catch me." Ha ha ha. Hee hee.
They do. They're like, oh, you know how much money I'm making, especially when we have cases where they're working another job while collecting workers' comp. And then they go brag to other people like, oh, you know how much money I make on workers' comp while I'm here working a job that I'm not supposed to be working.
Oh yeah, people don't like that.
Yeah.
They may act like your friend, but let me tell you, people are envious and jealous. And
Well, it's fraud. This is why the insurance rates are high.
well, yeah. I mean, I'm just talking about people,
Yeah.
relationships. That's why stuff like that goes south. You
Mhm.
think somebody's your buddy, but they're not. They're stabbing you in the back.
Again, workers' comp, disability, those types of claims, a lot of those are attorney represented. So they have been told, and this guy, this subject, this claimant was told by his attorney, be careful, you're probably going to be followed. And they're like, okay, but they don't ever think it's going to happen to them. Right?
They don't. And then the other falsehood they have in their head is that, well, I have an attorney, I'm immune. I'm like, listen, attorneys, they're highly educated. They have to argue. They have to have evidence, and they have to be able to provide a good case. Now, some people they overestimate the magic of their attorney's ability to protect them, and they get themselves in hot water. And when your attorney's giving you some sound advice, like you need to lay low, well, you guys need to listen.
Right.
You need to not come out like a prairie dog. You need to
Right.
take your head out the hole and then pop back in. Turtle power. Keep that thing. Yeah, because people are, they'll get you.
Yeah, they don't mean go get 15 jobs.
No, they
right?
don't mean get
Yeah.
and then go brag to everybody about what you're doing because you're going to get caught and then the attorney's not going to be able to get you out of it. That's just
Right.
how it goes.
Not to mention there's such a financial trail. So people will try and work for cash under the table so it's not detected because we've had many cases where they're W-2 earners and they go get another W-2 job and they think, how did they know?
They're not
How
going
did
to
they
know.
know? I was like, well, a little birdie landed.
Yeah, no, they can check all that.
Yes.
The magic of the keypad.
But I think you're right. Maybe it's like the overconfidence.
It's the overconfidence, the braggadocious overconfidence, inflated ego, the haughty heart, whatever you want to call it. People have by nature. That's how we kind of tend to be, and especially after 2 years of collecting, you think you're
safe.
you're a
You think
financial
good.
whiz. You've got life figured out, and when you start thinking like that, you start messing up.
Yeah.
You start messing up.
Do you remember the lady I had one time? This
Look
claimant.
at us coaching people.
I know. That's what I was like. We're literally giving you guys what to do.
All the beans. Granted, if you take the advice that we're giving, you're not going to have a life because you will literally be
Right.
a hermit. You'll be pasty, and the sun will it'll burn you
Yes.
because you won't be able to go outside. You won't be going anywhere, and that's the price you pay.
Well, not to mention there's an aspect to it. Maybe certain people, maybe you all like this, but I don't know that I would want to live my life just having to look over the shoulder because you see these individuals when they leave their home or whatever, and they're like
They are.
paranoid,
They're
just
just
like bird decking it. They're
they're
like,
just like a meerkat. You get up like this,
yeah,
and they look around before they pop
yep,
out. And then
yeah,
they scurry to the car. They hop in real quick and like that.
yeah.
They're doing U-turns and
They're
flips.
trying to do
The good
counter
ones who are
surveillance.
are really
Hmm.
paranoid and they've been doing it for a long time. They got tricks, man. They know how to do it.
Right.
'Cause,
But listen, if you're a good investigator, they have tricks, but we have better
I mean,
tricks.
we have more tricks.
We do.
You know,
We
at
have
the
more
end of the
tricks.
day, we have more resources to
Right.
figure out what's going on.
Well, and
So
it's also preparing ahead of time, trying to sometimes you can't outthink them because then they get neurotic or they get like just insane the way they do things. Like our case last week, we told you
that's
about
when
the
they
in and
start
out.
going Karen on you. They run up on you and they're like, "I'm filming you." And then I'm like, "Yeah, well, I'm filming you." Tell me your name.
Yeah.
Why
I
are
thought
you here? I don't know.
you're like, I thought you had a left arm injury and you can't
You have
lift
to tell me.
anything.
No, I know.
No, yeah. But they're aggressively chasing you when they've been supposed to be sedentary. They can't move. Yeah.
Yeah, they're supposed to have a
Oxygen
club leg.
to
Yeah.
live, but they're like chasing you all crazy.
Yep.
And,
Yeah.
I know it's
I mean,
funny.
yeah. These people are wild.
So actually next week we are going to share a couple cases that we actually were burned on because every investigator, no matter who you are, has been burned at least one
Yeah.
time.
And if you're saying you haven't, you're lying.
You're lying. But I will say we have a pretty low burn rate, like one hand, I can honestly say.
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, like 3, 4, I think is the most that I've been burned on in 10 years, which is actually pretty good.
That's
I even followed
good.
a cop one time. Do you remember that?
Yes.
He was on disability
Uh-huh.
and I
Oh,
followed a police
yeah.
officer. Do you remember that? And I had to go to an event that he was meeting his wife at. It was like this gala event. So I had to follow him there, go inside. He was mingling with everybody. I mean, I got some good food too. It was
Yeah.
I had to dress up.
Coconut, shrimp. Yeah.
I got to wear my stilettos. It was amazing. It was really so much fun.
Mhm.
Never got burned. And he was a cop.
Well, yeah, well, and that's that's where "Yep, I'm a PI" comes from because they don't suspect that
No,
she
they
is.
don't.
They don't. They don't.
Mm-mm.
People,
No.
yeah, but yeah, did we explain why the name is the way it is on our show?
We did like in the
Yeah.
very first
Oh, yeah, just to
episode.
remind you because that's what
Yeah.
it is when people come to her and say, "What do you do for a living?" "Oh, I'm a PI,"
Yeah.
and she says, "Yep." "You're a PI?" "Yep, I'm a PI." And so yeah, she gets away with a lot,
You're
because they just don't. I mean, they would expect somebody like me,
right.
or
Yeah.
somebody.
People already think you're a cop.
Yeah, people already think, and I don't know why.
They're always like, oh, they will, especially when you wear your
I mean, do I look
sunglasses.
like I exude power and authority? I don't think so. My kids don't even listen to me. You don't listen to me.
No, I
The
don't.
cat doesn't
You
listen to
listen to
me.
me though, but that's okay.
Yeah. So no, no. Mm-mm.
No, okay, baby, you do listen to me.
Yeah,
Actually, you do.
I do. I have to. She
That's how we
controls
stay
me.
together for 3
Yeah,
weeks.
that's why.
The case I had that one time where it was a university and they had a sexual harassment assault case open. So I had to go in with another male investigator. You weren't
Mhm.
available at the time. So I went in with another one. We were interviewing the subject, the accused, the victim, etc.
Mhm.
And do you remember
Did it turn out they were having an affair?
no, it did. It turned out they were actually
They were
having
actually
an affair.
before
So
the
right.
alleged assault
So the
happened.
thing about we have to remember whenever we have those types of cases that even if they were having an affair or they were together, sometimes people think that they have the right to still do certain things and they don't. They don't have the right to do that. This was not that situation, and we did determine that for sure
Mhm.
through our
Yep.
investigation. But what's so interesting is when we were interviewing the male subject who was, he was the accused, and it was the male investigator sitting to my right, and I was sitting here. And at one point, like the cops showed up, the police arrived, and they were like banging down the door and trying to get in. And we're like, we're doing an interrogation here. What are you doing? And so the other male investigator, he left the room to go talk to them. The door was open, and I was in there with this subject by myself. And he literally leans back in his chair. At this point, it's just him and I. And he leans back in his chair like this, and he's looking at me. He's like, so it's like, you're a PI? And I looked at him, I was like, yep, I'm a PI. And he looked at me and he was like, huh, I would have never guessed. And he's looking me up and down. I was like, do you realize that you are now feeding into this interrogation? You are kind of proving
He
the
couldn't help
point.
it.
I
Couldn't help it.
could not help it. And he just proceeded and he kept going on. And I was like, I just let him know. I was like, this is
Yep.
great for my case. This is good for my
Yeah.
interview.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I just
fantastic.
couldn't help it, man.
Could not help it. Oh no, just
couldn't
looking
help it.
up and down. And then the other male investigator came back in, and the next thing you know, he's like, I didn't do it. It's like, it wasn't me. It's like, this is wild.
Yep.
So yeah, anyway, so that's an example of how we came up with our name. Yep, I'm a PI.
Yep.
Yeah.
People, and when we have a self delusion about who we think how we appear, how we think we appear towards other people, it's really entertaining to see people's behaviors
Yeah.
and the psychology
Mhm.
that they adopt, especially like the Don Juans that we watch on occasion for infidelity, because they think, man, every girl wants me.
Yes.
I am such a catch. This is the voices going on in their head.
Right.
Every woman is so lucky to talk to me.
Yeah.
Come, one and all, sit. I got knees and lap for days. Come, and then come to me, my concubines. That's the psychology that we see that
Right.
people like that, and even, but women are just as bad.
Oh no, women are
Women are just as bad
Sorry,
because we've
ladies.
had,
I don't have your back,
sorry,
no, women.
girls.
No,
It's
woman
your
knows a
turn.
woman's game.
Yeah, the guys, you got your shellacking. Now the girls,
Yeah.
just as bad because
Yes. But you have to think about it in a sense of, if you have a male individual and a female and they're having an affair, it's the game and it's the chase that they like. And so in their mind they have it built up like, wow, this is amazing. Especially when sometimes we see people out, well, not sometimes, actually a lot. We see people out, which we do this thing where when we're out and about, even if we're not on a case and we're like at dinner, we will sit down at our table and we will watch the people around us and these couples and try and determine which ones we think are supposed to be together, allowed to be together,
which
who
ones
are
are the sugar
cheating.
babies with
Yes.
their sugar daddy?
And which ones are like first dates. But there's so many couples where the male is like the reacher more often than the woman, right? I mean, so in that instance, she has to put in more work. I mean, she's got to make sure she's got her hair done, she
Yep.
looks good, she's wearing the stilettos, she's got the nice dress, she's got makeup on. I mean, I'm a girly girl, so that's not hard to do. Like, I don't mind doing all that stuff just on a regular basis, but she definitely has to exert more energy.
I always say, girls, they think they have it hard when
No,
they
I
date,
don't feel like
when
we
they
do.
when they date for money, but they don't. Let's
No,
face it, guys.
no.
All they got to do is just look good. We require blood pressure for those cougars that require these rich ladies that.
As a woman, I will never tell you that women have it harder than men, because I watch you when you do like manly stuff, like when you change tires and you pump my gas and you do all these things and you
So,
lift
because I can't
stuff.
afford a Lamborghini, or somebody
Yeah,
can do it
right.
for me.
Yeah. But no, when you like lift things and your strong muscles, and I'm like, it's like such a turn on. But at the same time, I look at you and I'm like, I would never want to be a man.
I always say I would never want to have a period.
I mean,
I
okay,
would never want to do
fair.
that.
There's a good swap for that.
I
But
would never want
no,
to do that.
it's like weird
I am
because
so glad you are a girl.
I'm glad you're a man, and I'm so glad that like you're tough and strong, and you have muscles, and you do all these things. It's very attractive. It's like such a turn on. It's like,
And that's why we do that.
right. It's why you do what you do, and that's why we do what we do. But so yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think women have it hard. I will say I like being a girl.
I think women do have it hard because I wouldn't want to have to put war paint on every day before I went out. the amount of commitment is incredible for you ladies who go and you tend yourselves, and we appreciate that.
Yeah.
We appreciate the work, but having to put on war paint every day, curl the hair, I mean,
I'm glad you
so
appreciate it, babe.
exhausting, so exhausting.
I appreciate
I
you
literally
too.
will wash my hair with the soap I use to scrub my body off with, and then stumble out of the shower, and
We have
I
like
go to the closet and get
15
something
kinds
out.
of shampoos,
Okay, and
conditioners, a
yeah, 15
loofah,
minutes later, I'm
a
done. I'm
foot
cooked.
scrubber. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Yeah, same stuff I wash off here.
No, there's like, we do have to calendar days where it's like, okay, today we can shower quickly because our legs are already shaved, all of our parts are shaved. And then there's days when you just have to like, okay, I need a longer shower. So like you would literally calendar in your mind of how many like hair washing days like men don't care. They're just like, I'm gonna wash my hair every day with
Like,
dog shampoo. Who knows?
smell. Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
I better get it.
Yeah.
Better get it.
So anyway, it's interesting, even as investigators, when we're out in public not working, the dynamic. And I think, I don't know why we just sit and watch people like that, because it's just,
Fun.
I guess sometimes
I
you don't
guess
turn
it's
your
fun.
brain off.
Yeah, I didn't turn my brain off. It turns on even more because I'm just thinking about all the angles. I'm like, what is
Yeah.
happening here? This
Yeah.
looks so bizarre and so crazy,
Hmm.
and the behaviors are so off the wall. And like I said, the women, the men who are cheating or have a sugar baby or whatever are fun to watch. But then the women, when they are on the take, so to speak, and they're doing their thing, they're just as
Yeah.
gratuitous as men they are. We've been on surveillance, and we followed women around, and yeah, I felt like a piece of meat. I just was, like, oh my gosh, you see the way she looked at me like I was, you know,
Well, they're out there, like you
because
said, cheaters paradise, which
yeah,
actually soon, not today, but soon, actually, we have a really, really good story on, we call them the Three Sisters. So we're going to bring that one
the
very
Three
soon to you
Sisters.
guys, because that's a very salacious story.
That's one of our most amusing ones, most entertaining ones. You guys will get a kick out of that one.
Right. I know. I feel like every week we're like, oh, next week we have so much to share. Yes. It's a good thing we have many more episodes to come here. So we're going to wrap this up today because we have people to go watch. So you do have work to do every once in a while. But thank you for joining us on another episode of Yep, I'm a PI. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all of our socials. We are on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook Meta, and Instagram. We ran out of time for viewer questions this week, but we did have some. So next week, we're going to start with the viewer questions first. And then we will share some stories. That case we talked about, the infidelity case in the park. And we have probably a couple more. A lot of infidelity, unfortunately. A lot of cheaters
A lot
out
of
there.
that. Now that everybody's got their little cheating, their little cheater devices in their hands. It's so much easier, more readily available than the old days
Yeah.
when we had to hunt down a payphone to get away with that
Right.
stuff.
Yep. Oh, no, so true for sure.
Yeah, 30 years ago was such a different place.
Yeah, no, it definitely was. So.
20 years ago was such a different place.
Thanks for joining us today. We're so glad that you came, spent some time with us, our little fellow investigators. We will see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.